Has it ever happened that you performed the sacrament of confession distractedly, treating it as mere routine and reciting the formulas without genuine feeling? Have you considered the profound implications such carelessness can entail? According to the teachings transmitted by Jesus to Saint Teresa of Ávila, the absence of sincere contrition during confession represents a path that can drag countless souls to perpetual damnation. Those truly committed to their religious belief need to understand the magnitude and seriousness of confession. This material aims to investigate the terrifying vision of hell experienced by Saint Teresa of Ávila, as well as Jesus' warnings about the souls who fall into that state of endless suffering. It is strongly recommended to follow the complete exposition, as its content can provoke a significant change in your life. This is not a topic to be treated superficially or dismissively. Explore the true purpose of confession, what Saint Teresa witnessed about the infernal regions, and how honesty of purpose is vital for an authentic faith. Let us now hear the words of Saint Teresa of Ávila herself. The entrance to hell presented itself as a long, narrow passage, resembling a dark vertical furnace dug into the earth. I walked along a path covered in sticky mud, with a repugnant odor, teeming with disgusting insects and monstrous beings. At the end of this path, I found a recess in the wall, similar to a niche or cupboard, where I was forced to accommodate myself. All the previous scenes, however dreadful, became insignificant compared to the suffering I felt in that cramped confinement. The affliction was such that no language could adequately express my sensation. My essence seemed to incinerate in a flame of unimaginable intensity, beyond human comprehension. Medical professionals had declared that I had already experienced the most acute physical pains a human being can endure, but the infernal sensation was entirely distinct and superior. The certainty that such a condition would extend for all eternity submerged me in unceasing agony. It was a sensation of asphyxiation, of total air deprivation, generating indescribable panic and hopelessness. Furthermore, I perceived a force that destroyed me incessantly. The most disconcerting aspect was the conviction that I myself caused this destruction, as if I were tearing my own soul apart. This internal fire, combined with absolute despair, constituted in my perception the very nature of infernal torment. I felt my body being burned and fragmented into myriads of pieces. This suffering, which defies comprehension and description, was the most terrifying of all. In that domain of extreme torment, there was not the slightest sign of hope, not even the prospect of fleeting relief. It was impossible to find rest, whether standing or sitting. I felt imprisoned, oppressed by walls that seemed to defy the laws of physics, pressing in on me from all sides. The darkness was absolute, dense, without any chink of light. However, paradoxically, my visual perception was clear. This clarity, though, only served to aggravate my suffering. In that initial experience, the Lord did not show me the full extent of infernal horror. In later glimpses, however, He revealed even more excruciating tortures reserved for souls guilty of specific sins. It is curious to note that these later sufferings, which I only contemplated without experiencing, did not cause me the same level of dread as the original vision. That first time, I was granted to feel the torments as if they were inflicted upon me, as if I were a real conscious victim. I cannot explain the mechanism of this, but I am convinced that God, in His infinite goodness, bestowed upon me an extraordinary grace by allowing me to visualize this terrifying abyss from which His limitless mercy rescued me. Any account, reading, or imagination about the tortures of hell pales before the concrete reality. The flames we know on earth are insignificant compared to the fire that devours souls in the hereafter. Although almost 6 years have passed since that vision, even today when recounting what happened, I am overcome by such intense fear that I feel my blood run cold. From that experience onward, all earthly suffering lost its weight. I no longer see reasons to cry or complain about life's adversities. The greatest trials and pains become trivial compared to what I felt in that brief infernal moment. It is surprising to recall that before this vision, reading descriptions of hell did not provoke the same terror I feel now, after having had such a vivid glimpse of its reality. This experience generated in me a profound consternation upon noticing how many souls, even after baptism and integrated into the church, are lost without aid. Since then, an inner urgency compels me to assist and intercede for their salvation. My determination is such that, if I had countless lives, I would offer them all without hesitation to deliver a single soul from those unspeakable tortures. If we are already moved when witnessing the suffering of others, especially loved ones, how much pain and compassion should we harbor when observing a soul plunging into an endless abyss? Especially knowing that the finite suffering of this life does not compare to the eternal torments imposed by the devil, who drags multitudes into the depths. For this reason, my most fervent desire is that we strive primarily to please God, incessantly begging for His sustaining grace. Pondering this, a reverent fear invades me. Despite my imperfections, I have always sought to serve God to the best of my abilities, deliberately avoiding certain transgressions that many consider minor. God granted me the strength to endure various illnesses and trials with resignation. Consciously, I avoided slander, intrigue, rancor, and greed. Even without having committed grave faults and seeking to live in the fear of God, the Lord showed me the place the adversary had destined for me as punishment for my sins. He stated that, however terrible the visualized torments were, my debt was even greater. Does this not demonstrate the immense danger of living without due respect for the one who continually incurs mortal sin? Such a person needs to understand that they will not avoid eternal damnation unless, out of love for God, they renounce everything that offends His holiness. Only through this path can His mercy and help be reached, as I myself was able to ascertain. I implore God with all my soul never to withdraw His mighty hand from me, to preserve me from the fall and the just punishment He revealed I deserve. My Redeemer, I beg you, save me by your infinite grace. Who is destined for hell and for what reasons? Jesus Himself offers the answer to this question in a striking dialogue with Saint Teresa of Ávila. During a mystical experience, while she was praying, a vast incandescent abyss suddenly opened before her eyes. According to her testimony, she saw countless souls plummeting into this precipice, similar to snowflakes in a winter storm. Terrified, Teresa looked to the heavens and inquired, "My Lord, who are these souls that are perishing?" Jesus initially indicated they were the unbelievers, but soon corrected, "These souls you see plunging into hell are Christians, just like you." Perplexed, Teresa asked, "But were they not individuals without faith, who did not practice religion or were unaware of the sacraments?" Jesus replied, "No, they are souls of baptized Christians like you, who believed and participated in the rites, yet were unfaithful throughout their lives." Overcome by overwhelming astonishment, Teresa exclaimed, "Oh my God, how can they be condemned?" Jesus then revealed, "They are condemned for having made a bad confession. Go, Teresa, share this vision with everyone and exhort the bishops and priests to preach incessantly about the dangers of poorly made confession. May my followers not turn the remedy into poison, nor misuse this sacrament, which is the manifestation of my mercy and forgiveness." This revelation from Jesus to Saint Teresa is profoundly unsettling and at the same time potentially transformative, inviting us to examine our own spiritual journey. It does not refer to a hell destined only for atheists or hardened sinners, but rather for Christians themselves, those who pray, attend church, and confess. However, Jesus was explicit. Even these face the risk of eternal damnation. What is the reason? The key lies in confession, not merely in the act, but in the inner disposition with which it is approached, in the condition of the heart. Jesus warned that inadequate confession is the primary cause of the perdition of Christian souls. Such a warning echoes Christ's words about lukewarm Christians who would be rejected by Him. Confession should not be an automatic procedure, executed without sincere reflection, devoid of honesty or a firm purpose of amendment. Consider this sacrament as an intimate conversation with a friend who scrutinizes every thought and emotion. There is no way to hide or treat this encounter with disregard. Jesus discerns when our confession is authentic and when we face it as a mere formal rite. If we perform it with indifference, without true contrition, or without the real intention to change, it fails to provide the desired spiritual healing. In this scenario, it is we who adulterate the remedy, transforming it into poison. The warning, despite its simplicity, carries immense gravity. Jesus stated that souls condemn themselves due to a lack of genuine sorrow for sins, deep repentance, and a sincere will for conversion. Confession transcends mere action. It is a sacrament that demands total commitment, faith in God, and openness to transformation. When treated superficially, mercy transmutes into judgment and forgiveness into condemnation. This occurs because the absence of authenticity empties the act, depriving it of its spiritual power. Jesus' desire is that we approach confession with absolute sincerity and reverence. The essence of this sacrament lies in presenting ourselves fully to God, acknowledging our faults with true repentance, without viewing it as a mere obligation. In the absence of a desire for transformation, confession degenerates into inert formalism, precisely what Jesus warned us to avoid. Superficiality in the life of faith leads the soul to the precipice. Christ, who probes hearts, knows how to distinguish pure intentions from those that denote a lack of readiness to change one's life. He explained that souls fall into hell because they treat confession negligently, reducing their faith to a dead practice, without vigor and without a real yearning for change. As Christians, we are called to continually deepen our relationship with God, preserving the integrity of our hearts and the vitality of our faith. Jesus does not want us to underestimate the value of the sacrament of reconciliation. He desires that we approach with confidence and openness, so that our repentance may be legitimate and our resolutions solid. By neglecting this, our faith becomes shallow and our spiritual life loses its strength. It becomes clear, therefore, the importance of approaching confession with authenticity. This sacrament possesses the power to renew us, but only if we experience it with a contrite heart and the readiness for a new beginning. Jesus offers us this means to lead us back to Him, purify our hearts, reconcile ourselves, and start a new life. Without this authenticity, the act becomes innocuous. It is fitting then to reflect, are we treating confession with the due respect it deserves? Is our faith truly active, or are we merely simulating following Christ? Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.